All right, Cash Flow Tactics, we are back with a longer form type video, and instead of us just screaming into our phone live, we are going to actually show you some numbers and some concepts, and this is more for a fact finder than a quick start video that we've been doing for the last few weeks. And this question keeps coming up, this debate keeps coming up in every mastermind I go to. Everybody is teaching newbies how to invest in real estate in their IRA, and I remember when I started, I was talking to all these IRA companies, how I get started, and I thought it was such a great system and such a great plan. And now, thanks to Brad Gibb, the Mormon Mises, he has dispelled that myth for me and explained to me why that is absolute crap.
Okay, you ready to do this?
Let's go. Are you going to say hi? Are you going to say hi to everybody?
Say again?
Are you going to say hi? You haven't said hi yet.
Hi, I'm here. Dude, I just want to get into it. I'm ready.
Let's go.
We don't do anything to chat. So, like you said, why we should never use an IRA to invest in real estate. So, the intent of the video here, just so everybody's clear, like the discussion still applies if you're an active real estate investor, but we'll cover that another time. This is for those that want to invest in real estate passively. Okay? So, let's step back a second because we can't come to any conclusion unless we know what our objective is, unless we know what we want. So, Jimmy, the people buying turnkey real estate from you, okay, the people that we teach and coach of how to do that, what are they after at the end of the day?
Passive income, or as close to passive income as they can absolutely get. And they also want it to be really close to tax-free.
So let's go even a higher level than that. They want to be financially free.
Let's call it economic liberty, because I think financially free is getting tossed around by everybody, and they think it means sitting on a goddamn beach, and it really pisses me off.
Economically independent?
Economic liberty.
Economic liberty. Yeah, and really, yes, at the end of the day, you should have more purpose in your life than just sitting and playing golf or sipping drinks on a beach, right?
Right.
Okay? So, economic liberty, let's define that now. And Jimmy, this is where you were going. We define this not as an amount of net worth, like most people do, not an accumulated amount of money that probability tells us we won't spend through it before we die, but we call this, as soon as our cash flow exceeds our expenses, we are economically liberated.
Right.
Cash flow exceeding expenses. That's all that matters.
And there's a corollary that you're keeping close to like 90% of what is yours. That you are not working for 3 months for the government. Well,
yes, and ultimately, our after-tax cash flow has to exceed our expenses, right? Our after-tax expenses. So even if there is some income tax in this, a very quick way to get there is to reduce how much we pay in taxes, as opposed to making more money. Sometimes the best return we can do is to figure out how to do it in a way that we don't pay taxes, which basically is the topic of the conversation today.
Yeah, right? I mean, I know a bunch of cheap bastards who won't spend money on anything, but they won't do anything to mitigate their highest lifetime expense, which is taxes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what we are after. So this is what we need to analyze, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Analyze and get laser focused. That is the goal. It is not to build up some balance sheet where you have the highest net worth.
Yep. Okay. So here are the limitations of IRA accounts that nobody likes to talk about. It's really sexy, or at least everybody puts it out there that, hey, there are all these advantages to IRAs. But they don't ever talk about the disadvantages.
Right.
So disadvantage number one is we have contribution limits. Okay? $5,500 is the most per person that you can put into one of these accounts.
Now, is that Roth and the other kind, whatever the hell it's called?
Traditional, yes. Okay, and with Roth, it's even worse because as soon as we make over, I believe it's $150,000 in AGI, we can't contribute at all to a Roth.
Okay.
So trying to buy real estate at $5,500 a clip becomes pretty difficult, right?
Yep.
I mean, we work in some of the most affordable markets in the United States, and the average down payment is $15,000, right? $17,000, almost $20,000. So it would take you 4 years just to be able to buy the first property.
Right.
Okay. So contribution limits significantly impact how quickly we can amass our wealth. Okay.
And if
now,
you're really,
there's lots of workarounds.
and if you're growing an entrepreneurial mindset and a mind that is looking for economic liberty, you're not going to tolerate a limit or a regulation on anything you do with what is yours. So
it only slows down and yeah, it holds back your ability to make progress.
And it's just to get economically free, you're going to need systems and processes. And then when there's a contribution limit, that is going to do nothing but slow down your systems and processes. All right, so let's pretend that we will accept it. We'll accept the contribution limits, and we've been working for 10 years, so we've saved up close to 55 grand.
Yep. So there's money in there already. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I will admit there are workarounds to the contribution limits, but they're workarounds. And they're always changing how you can do that. There's rollovers and there's this and that and there's other things you can do. If you're a business owner, there's things you can do. But we take it as a general rule that contributions are intended to be limited to these accounts. And that makes whatever you do in this difficult.
You can't scale it. You can't systematize it. All right, but let's carry on.
Now let's look at leverage. Okay? One of the most valuable things about real estate is the fact that you can leverage it.
Well, not just use leverage, but that you can get a subsidized 30-year fixed loan. You can get your middle-class welfare payment.
And yeah, go back and find our video where we talk about that. But yeah, like for most W-2 income people who are looking to be financially independent, this is the only tax break you're ever going to get.
Well, it's not even a tax break. A 30-year fixed loan backed by a piece of property is a subsidy. It is free money.
That's a better way to say it.
Yes.
This is the only subsidy coming your way.
Yeah.
Why not take advantage of it?
Yes. So if you want to buy in your IRA, you are giving away your subsidy.
Yep. So if we buy in cash, we can put 20% down in most cases. Versus in an IRA, you can only use 50%. And in this case, bigger is not better. We want to put less down, i.e. use more leverage.
Well, to get that non-recourse loan, you can search far and wide, and you could get a 30-year 30% down non-recourse loan.
So hold on, Jimmy. Let's go through this. Okay? Yeah. So the reason this is limited is when I take a loan, I put my own credit out there to the bank to back the loan.
Yep.
Right? The property is there to back it, but I'm also putting my credit. So if I default and the bank receives a loss on the property, they can come after me personally or my credit, my assets, things like that for the property.
Yep.
Right? But in IRA, by doing it inside of an IRA, the bank has to agree to what's called a non-recourse loan, meaning I'm not putting my own credit up. Only the IRA is putting up its credit, if you will, or its assets backing the loan. Now, does an IRA have a job and a W-2 and regular amounts of income?
No.
Does it have a credit score?
No.
No. Does it have a house that it wouldn't want to lose and it would fight to keep it?
No.
Okay. So banks, just from a risk standpoint, are hesitant to lend to an IRA because it's not a person. Okay, so Jimmy, in non-recourse loans, the loans that you've done, is it easy or difficult to get these?
I mean, for me?
Well, for the average person, as you've coached people through this.
Once they get coached by us, no, it's not hard. It's serving an underserved market, so there's a big demand for it.
Okay, so there is a demand for it, okay?
Yeah.
But out coaching from a guy like you, is it easy or difficult?
No, I mean, it's going to seem impossible.
It's going to seem impossible, okay? And then the non-recourse loans that you do get, what are the interest rates compared to a traditional loan?
Close to double digits, probably.
Yeah.
So and I know there'll be Facebook comments like, I have a non-recourse lender at 9%. I was like, okay, dude. Bottom line is it's not at the 5% that a FHA loan is.
It's higher than an FHA or a government-backed loan, right?
It's higher interest rate and it's more headache, where you could just go out and raise some private money.
Yep. Okay. And then when it comes down to, like, we'll have Facebook comments, I'm sure, of saying, I can get 30% down. But wait a minute. I've never seen a 30% non-recourse loan that didn't require at least 20% in liquid reserve inside of it. So, yes, I can put $30,000 down on a $100,000 property, but I also have to have 20 grand proven liquid assets so I still have to have 50 grand.
Which is another thing that absolutely triggers me is now you have Now you're going to have 20% of your capital sitting dead, doing nothing, not earning interest. It's tax deferred now, but it is dead capital. It has
to sit dead doing nothing. It can't even save you the interest that actually making a down payment on the property would add for you.
Yep.
Okay? All right. Now, so it's very difficult and not as financially advantageous if we're able to use it.
Yep.
But here, Jimmy, is a very interesting thing. If we do use it, we're penalized by this thing we call UBI, unrelated business income.
Which I had no idea this even existed. And that's why you are the former reformed accountant and I'm the meathead investor.
Right. So go research this, and what you'll find is if your IRA produces a profit that's related to leverage, it doesn't count. It doesn't get the benefits of the IRA. So in this case, if we're 50% leveraged, 50% of our income, our cash flow from the property, does not get the tax benefits of an IRA. And we have to pay an income tax on that amount before it gets back into the IRA.
Okay, so now I've ran around contribution limits, I've given up my ability to leverage, and I've taken a tax-free asset, and now it is definitely tax-deferred and taxable.
And now it's taxable, and the rates are not very favorable.
And are most people pay attention to this UBI, or is this just an accountant trick?
No, nobody even knows about it, so I bet there's a lot of people out there not paying it that should. But I've come across lots of people that began investing in real estate and then came across this when their accountant said, hey, by the way, here's all this tax that your IRA has to pay.
Okay.
So that slows everything down. Now, it's not just cash flow that comes in. If you sell a property, 50% of the gain when you sell the property is subject to UBI.
Yep.
Okay? Because they just take the percentage of leverage and attribute that to whatever profit you earn in whatever form that takes. Okay?
Yep.
So now we're injecting taxes back in. Okay? You might be looking at this and still say, well, maybe this still works. Okay?
Well, here's why I think this thing works. They're selling it to employees, and employees have this frame that qualified plans are the way to do it. So it melts inside their frame and works inside that frame. Whereas mine, where I just want to be economically liberated, I have too much suspicion to just accept this.
And Jimmy, you make a massive point there. They're already preying on the fact that you believe the only way to retire is work and save until you're 65.
Right.
That's it. If that is the case, even the next couple of things we'll talk about don't really matter. But most people aren't even saving the amount. I mean, they're doing this think through the logic, right? If you go and get advice on this, or you say, make sure you're maxing out your employer qualified plan and getting the most max possible. So contribution limits, most people can't save very much above that anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then the whole leverage issue is well, that's bad. So you shouldn't be using debt anyway.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Right? The UBA discussion goes away because there's no leverage. And now this looks pretty packaged, just, nice, just like they're getting fed the same information.
Right, and it might be, and be honest with you, doing it this way is still probably better than mutual funds.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
And that's another huge point, too, is they're not comparing it against doing real estate a better way. They're comparing it against, if you're not satisfied with 3% of the risk of the market, you could do this and it would be better. And they're still living inside. We call this, you're going to be getting goldfish advice.
Yeah.
Because they're still swimming inside the goldfish bowl. I don't have gold to write with, but they're still swimming inside the goldfish bowl of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And they're not comparing to a possibility that exists outside.
Right.
But once you see that solving this equation can happen in 10 years or less, if you do it the correct way, you'll start to see that these limitations are a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for somebody outside that frame who is economically liberated, this is laughable to me.
It's silly at this point. Okay?
Silly pants. All right, well, let's keep going.
So here's the last point that we want to make. So again, let's say we get around the contribution limits. We're okay with the leverage. UBI, whatever, we're okay with that. That might be less than we were paying otherwise, whatever. And let's say that you are massively successful with real estate inside your IRA. Okay? Let's pretend that happens. I want you to think about this. This is a quick clip from one of my favorite movies, which is Ocean's 11. And they're trying to convince Ruben to come on board and be part of the team to steal from the casinos, right? And he makes a point that everybody needs to understand. Now, remember, in the movie, they're robbing a casino in Las Vegas. And they go through how elaborate the security is and how impossible this task is going to be. And the two guys setting up the con still believe they can get it done. So just like you, we've gone through all of the limitations. But if you say, no, we can still do that, Ruben makes one more point that ought to be considered.
Okay. Yep.
I'm going to turn this up. Okay.
The best. I'm sure you can make it out of the casino. Of course, lest we forget, once you're out the front door, you're still in the middle of the fucking desert.
Hey, so let's say you get around contribution limits and leverage is not an issue and UBI is not an issue and you make millions of dollars in real estate. Guess what? You're still in the middle of the desert. You cannot use the money until you are 59 and a half.
So it is a absolute dead asset. And to me, this is the intolerable part. It's my money. It's my capital. I took all the risk. I took all the gamble. I did all the due diligence. It's mine. I will use it as I see fit, and I will not pass go. I will not ask permission from a bureaucrat.
Yeah. So if you're younger than 50, this is a bad idea. And even if you're older than 50, because you probably have assets together. We did a case study on our Facebook page a little while ago with somebody in their early 50s who just by reorganizing everything became financially independent overnight. Overnight. But if that money was in an IRA, even though they had cash flow receipt in their expenses, they would have had to sit and wait until they turned 59 and a half.
And then how do you calculate
themselves in the desert? And
then how do you calculate that opportunity cost? How do you calculate that with your family that, oh, no vacation this year, kids, or, you're probably grandpa at that time. Grandpa can't come to the Timmy's baseball game because he's still working because he's got a bunch of dead assets that don't get unleashed until he's 59 and a half.
Yep. Or you've got that book that you want to write or the charity that you want to fund or whatever it is that you feel is your purpose that you're putting off. You have to continue to put that off until you're 59 and a half.
Are we dead with this or let's bring up the cash flow quadrant real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Explain the cash flow quadrant in 20 seconds because if you don't know what it is, you need to go way back inside our YouTube channel.
And go read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So there's basically, to the IRS and to the world, we make money 4 different ways. We make money as an employee, as a self-employed individual, as a business owner, or as an investor.
Yep.
And the tax laws are different based on how we make our income. 20 seconds.
Okay. So where would you put, I would put Bob and I probably 18 months ago solidly in the S quadrant, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then every day, the more we're able to systematize and scale and create processes, we're getting closer to the B and I.
Yep.
And so as we continue to do this, we get more of our own time back, and we more of our own time back, and we keep more of our own money.
Yeah.
So here's
the tax amounts for each quadrant. Okay, if you're successful as an employee, you'll pay 40%. Right?
Yep.
If you're successful as a self-employed, you'll actually pay 60%. It's probably even a little higher than this, to be honest. As a business owner, you'll cap out at 20%. This is why, when Mitt Romney was running for president, they brought up they're going to pay 14% in income taxes. It's because he made most of his money as a business owner and an investor.
And do you think it's even lower now with Trump's new rules?
It is. It's easier to obtain.
Yes.
It's easier to come. But, Jimmy, by default, where do you think the IRS wants you to be?
The E.
On this side, right? On the left side.
Yeah.
So if you have W-2 income, they're going to put you here no matter what. If you decide to not have W-2 income and run your own business, by default, you get dumped into the S quadrant. There's actual work that has to be done to move over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep going.
Okay, so the problem with this frame with the qualified plan is that real estate, it should be solidly inside the B or the I quadrant. It should be between 0 and 20% taxes, correct?
Yeah, if we invest passively in real estate, it's already built to where you should pay 0 in income taxes.
Okay, and so then when you lock it up, you're inside a qualified plan. Here's the quick answer to this entire video. If you lock it up inside a qualified plan, you are taking something that should be tax-free, and you are now making it tax-deferred. And now you made, on your tax return for 2018, 2019, it might look non-taxable. But when you're 59.5 and you are going to take that, you are going to pay the highest amount of tax possible.
You get your IRA, if it's traditional, will be taxed as an employee, meaning ordinary income. So what could have been subject on a passive basis to 0, or potentially capital gains, which is 15 to 20%, or if you're a business owner and know what you're doing, your active income shouldn't be taxed above 20%. And you've taken it and shifted it to a category where your upper limitation is now 40%.
And I think the rub is it's because the frame inside these people's head is they're looking to accumulate things on their asset sheet and then release those assets and draw them down after 59.5. They are not looking to become economically independent.
Through cash flow, exactly, yes. Right? And then, yes, a Roth can do this to where it's tax-free, right? A Roth would sort of fall down here.
Yep.
But again, with the Roth, like we can already do it tax-free, and then we don't have to wait till we're 59.5. And we don't have contribution issues, and we don't have leverage issues, and we don't have UBI issues.
Yeah.
Okay? So a Roth doesn't help us because it gives us tax treatment that we already have, but we don't have to, but then it doesn't bring any of its limitations. And then same thing on the IRA, where we already in real estate can defer our taxes as long as we want to. We can choose to never take them, and if we do take them, they'll be better taxed than they would be in an IRA. So even if we still follow the liquidation mentality, real estate taxes are still deferred until the end.
Yep.
And then if we liquidate just like you would in your IRA, you're going to pay capital gains and not ordinary income. But there's no way that this works out to anyone's benefit, ever.
Okay, so now don't get depressed if you already have money locked away inside a qualified plan. It's not time for that yet. If you do have money locked away in a qualified plan and you want to put it in something asset-backed, such as real estate, how do you do it?
So the best thing to do is everything we've been talking about here is owning real estate, okay? The government, to give you the tax benefits that you want, what they're subsidizing, what they're incentivizing is real estate ownership, okay? That is never a good idea inside of an IRA. So let's be clear. Now, okay. If we already have money and we want to participate in real estate, we can get real estate-like returns without owning the real estate, okay? We can do that. And that's called private lending, okay? So a guy like Jimmy, you run through, what, 100, 120 homes a year through your business, going ops? Okay? You're not funding all of that out of your own pocket.
We're funding none of it out of our own pocket.
You're raising money from other people to buy and rehab and then ultimately sell properties to turnkey investors.
Yes.
So if you have money in IRA, you can find a guy like Jimmy. I do this personally. Lots of our clients do this, and we've got lots of avenues for this money to trickle down into. You can lend it on the real estate instead. And by lending on it, you don't have the issues of UBI and leverage and the complexity that would be required to operate real estate out of your IRA, and you actually end up being better off long term than if you tried to buy the real estate in your IRA.
And you want to go, we got 8 minutes. You want to go through those numbers real quick? We promised people numbers today.
All right, so let's go through numbers, okay? So don't be intimidated. This is simpler than it looks, but I wanted everybody to know that the math is being done.
And it can't be just always screaming into the camera, or at least me screaming into the camera. Eventually, for fact finders, we got to show some numbers.
Okay, so there's 3 scenarios across the top here. All of these assume you're starting with $50,000, okay? This is buying property cash. This is buying in your IRA, and this is doing private lending, okay? So if we buy properties cash using 20% down payments and the types of returns that we can see when we do this, you'd have the ability, and again, you're saving $12,000 a year. Okay?
Yep.
Let's just say $1,000 a month is what you save. You could acquire 14 properties with a market value of $1.4 million, cash flowing $32,500 of after-tax income, like zero, no tax on that income, $32,500, with 3% appreciation. Again, it's irrelevant, but I wanted to make sure that we understand, because there's 4 ways we make money with real estate.
Yep.
You can make $42,000 a year on appreciation, and then at a very minimum, like hugely conservative, we're paying down your mortgage balances at a clip of $17,000 a year.
Right, which you could finance. You could refi that out for another down payment on another house.
Exactly. So we could continue to snowball this. So that's a $90,000 a year gain after 10 years.
Yep.
Okay. This is why we tell most people saving $1,000 a month are making around $120,000 a year. By the time they pay all their taxes, they're netting this.
Yep.
This is why you can be financially independent in 10 years or less. Okay.
Yep.
Now we go to the IRA side of things, because our leverage is limited, which limits our returns. We can, for the same, and let's say we got around the contribution limits and we somehow still put in $12,000 a year.
Yep.
All we can now acquire is 5 properties with a market value of $500,000, only $20,000 in cash flow, which is 60% less.
Yep.
We would have if we did not use an IRA. And
what happens to the depreciation inside an IRA?
You don't get it.
You absolutely lose it. The main reason to invest in real estate for a hold strategy, you give that up. We should go back in the webinar and start that over. Holy shit.
You don't get to take deductions inside of your IRA. And because you don't own the property, you can't take them on your own side.
And so at 59.5, when you start drawing this down, you can't, the depreciation means nothing.
Well, if you're in a Roth, it doesn't matter, because the $20,000 coming out is tax-free anyway, right? You don't need deductions.
Okay.
But in a traditional account, that $20,000 comes out in ordinary income, and you've got nothing to shelter it.
But when you're putting it in, the one that's taxed up front, Roth and grows tax-free?
Yes.
You can't use the depreciation when you're putting it in?
No.
All right. I don't even need to see these numbers. I'm done. I'm even done with this concept.
Like, why would we do it, right?
Yeah.
Because our market value is so much less, even at the same 3% appreciation, our asset value is now only growing by $15,000 a year, right?
Yep.
And because we have fewer mortgages with less leverage, we're only paying down $3,000 a year.
Yep.
So we're now making $38,000 a year, which is 140% less than we make if we do it outside.
Okay.
Less money. Okay?
Yep.
That's all that matters. The only reason we would do an IRA is to make more money.
Yes.
And we don't here.
Yep.
Now, on the private lending side of things, here's one thing I want to show people. I don't want to add anything to the problem, okay? Because you still should own real estate directly. But if we have that $50,000 and just roll that over, I used 8% here, Jimmy. That's what you offer investors.
Yep.
We could roll that money over at 8% every year and generate close to, by the end of 10 years, we'd have about $8,000 a year of cash flow coming off those private loans we're making.
Okay.
I want to see how efficient this is as compared to the IRA, right? So per dollar invested, if we lend, we can create 16 cents of income. But in the IRA, if we follow everybody's advice of add to it and buy real estate, we're only generating 12 cents of income per dollar invested. Meaning if we own the real estate in an IRA, we're 35% less efficient or less income for every dollar that we put into it.
Right.
And this is, again, because we can't, like, if I couldn't leverage real estate and take depreciation deductions, I probably wouldn't invest in real estate. It just doesn't make very much sense.
No, I wouldn't either. The whole reason people get into it is because of leverage and depreciation, and you give up both those. Yeah, I'm sold on that. What are these numbers you got in the bottom?
And this is what if we don't have a balance and we're just going to start and we could choose, like, so this is cash and this is IRA.
Yep.
Even starting without a head start in one or the other, it's still awful. It's still 140% difference. 8 properties versus 3, $53,000 of return versus 22. It doesn't matter whether you have a balance or not. You do not create more wealth by utilizing an IRA with real estate.
Awesome. Okay, so if you're interested in concepts such as these, because I don't think in the real estate investing community we're going to really deep dive like we can with Brad, the Mormon Mises, and really do the financial jiu-jitsu that you're going to need to build a portfolio or to build a business, come over to and visit us at cashflowtactics.com. What are we offering this week, Brad?
Here's what we want to do with people, okay? Jimmy, and I don't know if you experienced this quite as much as I did. You were a quick start. You just jumped in and did real estate actively first, right?
Yep.
Most of the people that come through Cashflow Tactics are people that want to be financially independent, but they've got a lot invested in their education and their current job.
Yep.
The switch is pretty difficult, okay? And I went through this process myself as I had heavily invested in my education and my job, and I even owned a business that I wanted to work my way out of. And what I found when I went and I could learn concepts like we just shared here, but then I was left on my own to implement.
Yep.
And I was left on my own to find, like, okay, it sounds great to find a 10% cash flowing property or an 8% private lending deal. I was like, I don't know anybody that offers those. I call up my local real estate agent and I get things that come nowhere near those numbers.
Right, because they're looking at retail values.
Exactly. So what we offer at Cashflow Tactics, Jimmy, is this. We offer the education, as you've seen, and we don't pull any punches. We talk straight. We show you exactly what's going on.
And we're upfront about where we're making money and why we're biased and blah, blah, blah.
But we don't stop there.
Yeah.
We go one-on-one with you, and we bring you our team, and we show you exactly where we are finding opportunities.
Right. And then put in the middle there, we're giving you the skill sets and mindsets to evaluate and recognize that these ideas without us. Because eventually you're going to get very tired of us.
But what we want is we want to provide a head start, right? And if you come and work, you'd have to apply to work with us. We don't take everybody because this is not for tire kickers. This is not for people who want something for nothing. But if you want to work with us, you apply, and then we take on clients who we can help them achieve cash flow in 90 days or less. And we put you on a path to economic, what do we call it? Liberty in 10 years or less. That's what you get. That's what we deliver on. And we don't just educate you and kick you out the door. Education, team, and opportunity to bring it all together.
Right.
That's what you get.
But we are not looking to hang with you for the 10 years. It's the skill sets, mindsets, teams, opportunities, education, so you can run out the door and get this done yourself and find people in your local market doing this for you, or evaluate us and tell us we're full of shit. Either way, go to cashflowtactics.com and apply. Also check out our Facebook page at Cashflow Tactics, and we'll see you on the next video.